Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first million in real estate. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah!
Hey everybody, what is up? I hope you are having a fantastic start to your week this week. All right, hey. Oh, well, hold on. If you're new to the show, I just want to let you know this show is all about building a business. We talk to top producing real estate agents, and we find out how they did it. If you don't sell real estate, that's okay. This show is about entrepreneurship through the lens of a real estate agent. And whatever your business is, man, you can use these tactics in your biz. All right, so today's episode, she's a girl. She does about 250 deals, and she was a TV news anchor. So we talk about how she went from TV to real estate. She when she started her business, she operated off one simple thing. Now, most of you guys and girls, I see this over and over again. You guys always go, well, what is that person doing? Right? What is that person doing? And let me try to copy them. I mean, real estate agents are the worst for copying other people. You know, I mean, and that's okay. That's okay. But today's guest operated off a different kind of foundation. She said, let me look at what other people are doing. Let me look at what they're not doing, and that's what I'm going to do. So that's what she did, and she's built it. We talk about the importance of copy. We talk about how critical it is to be both transparent and honest and sometimes it's hard to be transparent, and sometimes, you don't want to be honest, and not to be dishonest, but sometimes, maybe you didn't do everything you said you're going to do, right? And, or maybe sometimes, you make promises you can't keep. And, she talks about just coming clean, man. And I'm sure you'd all agree with that. We talk about we talk about a bunch of different little nuggets. We talk about a bunch of different tools that she's using. Some I knew about, some I didn't know about. We also talk about how to implement video testimonials, and we talk about what events she goes to. So that's it. As you know, the hashtag for this show is I almost forgot for a second. It is Unpack That Idea. It's a big Twitter follow train. Tweet it out, copy me, my Twitter handle, Super Agents Live, and look, I love all my listeners, all you guys, to follow one another when you see that hashtag. And by the way, I had this one girl from Chicago, and she literally did a couple tweets using that hashtag, but boom, she went from 0 Twitter followers to like 300. So we do have a big following on Twitter for this show. Last thing, as you guys know, let me address something really quickly. There's always, we have a lot of listeners out there. And I don't know if you guys know this, but we broadcast, we have listeners in about 130 countries, which is pretty crazy. We have listeners everywhere. And in any audience, right? There's going to be haters, man. There's going to be haters. And I get two kinds of emails. People saying, man, I love this show. And by the way, I got a really cool tweet the other day. I'm going to give this guy a shout. Dave Woodson. Thanks, buddy. I saw your tweet the other day, and I was going to respond. I didn't. So sorry, bud. But so look, I've gotten a couple of emails recently, people saying, hey, Toby, stop talking so much. And I'm like, you know what, dude, that show's not for you. Because this show is, it's meant to be? It's meant to be like hearing a cool conversation. You're sitting in a hot tub at some hotel, and you hear this cool conversation. Hopefully you want to listen in, or you're sitting you're at a bar somewhere and you're hearing two people talk. So that's what this show's supposed to be. So if you think I talk too much, well, you know what? You don't get it. You don't get it. All right. So that's it. Hey, listen, if you guys want to level up, real estate radio experts, that's where you got to go. Jump on radio. It's not as expensive as you think. And you know what? Listings are, in this environment, listings are tough, man. There's not enough inventory everywhere. You guys got to stand out. You got to have to catch or cast a giant net. The best way to do that is radio. We can find the exact demographic for your market. And if you want to kill it, that's the way to do it. All right. Hey, let's get to it. Oh, one last thing. You are not going to want to miss future episodes Just like this one. So what do? Here's what you do. Go to the site. Go to superagentsalive.com. Download my book. You know what that does? That gives you a little reading material, right? Hopefully you like my book. It's free. But you know, better than that, I get your email. And when we do special events, when I blast out stuff that I don't talk about on the show, you guys can be a part of that conversation. So that's what you're going to want to do. I don't want you to miss anything else. And hopefully you want to be part of our family here. So go download my book, and that's it. All right, now let's hit it. Now, today's guest has an interesting business. She's right at that sweet spot. She is the only listing agent for her company. However, she does have 3 buyer's agents. For that, she has 3 admin taking care of everything, and she does have a sales and marketing person, kind of a dedicated one. So I want to talk about that. Transactions last year, 258, so no slouch, for a total volume of 42 million, and that 42 is because her average sales is 170. I'm thrilled to welcome Tammy Mitchell. Hey, Tammy, thanks for taking the time out today.
Thank you. I'm excited about this.
Me too. So let's get into that. And before we get into what you're doing in your business, how you got to 250, let's hear about you. I always like to get to know the person behind the business prior to getting into to how you've structured it. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I did not start out wanting to be a realtor. I actually went to school to be a television reporter and weather person. Did that for 4 months. Hated it. So my dad had owned a Century 21 office, and he said, just come back home, get your real estate license, and you can sell real estate while you go back to school and decide what it is you really want to do. And I fell in love with real estate from the very beginning. And my first year I closed about 40 some odd transactions, and that was about $4 million. And then I just kept growing from there. And I just kept going to different classes because if my dad said, don't watch what everyone else in the market's doing. Find out what they're not doing and do those things. And so that's what I always have done. And so I've been doing this now for 20 years.
20 years, okay.
Yes.
So you went to school for television to be I didn't catch it. To be a reporter or to be a weather girl?
I went to be a television reporter and anchor, but I kind of got thrown into doing weather on the weekends. So I was doing both.
So your background really is in journalism.
It is.
Got it.
Communications.
So with that journalism background, you've written a lot of papers when you're in school, and this I'm just jumping right into this. But copy in your in any marketing plan, writing compelling copy is critically important. Does your background in journalism help you with creating marketing pieces?
Well, journalism's more about just giving the straight facts.
Okay.
So I do, but then I went to Webster University, which is a liberal arts college, so I could take a lot of different kind of classes. So I took marketing classes too, so I was able to incorporate the two.
Okay.
And I do think just having communication classes really helped with working with people in general.
Look, I recently had somebody on, and I forget who it was, but she said, she said, language is the secret weapon. If you can have a mastery of language, that will solve everything in terms of working with clients and getting new clients. How has your communications classes or background been helpful in growing your business, Tammy?
Well, I think that's okay. One thing I did not like about journalism was, here's the story, but the news director kind of has a beef with the mayor, so now we're going to twist the story a little bit. And I could not handle what I felt was the unethical side of journalism. So for me, getting into real estate and being incredibly honest with people was so important to me. And I think then my reputation just became, she's so honest with you. And I grew my business by being honest and doing what I say I'm going to do. So I'm not real sure exactly, in terms of how it helped me with communicating with them, except that I was just incredibly honest. And I was a very shy person, but when you're in journalism, you've got to put that shyness aside.
Yeah.
So when I'm with people, I am very, very different than I might be in my personal life at home. I'm a little more quiet and reserved there, but yet when I'm with people, I'm very opinionated in terms of making sure I'm telling them the important things that they need to know, and for resale purposes, saying, this home is a great home. Now, for resale, it might be a little more difficult, and this is why, but whatever decision you decide to make is completely up to you. My job is to just give it to you.
Got it. So you're one of those agents or I should say one of those people where even if somebody wants to hire you, you might go, hey, I'm maybe not the right fit for you. Or
there are times when I do have to say that, yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
Go ahead.
No, so your dad, sold real estate. He had a Century 21 office. The advice that he gave you, Tammy, was do what the other people are not doing. How did you take that into? How'd you take that advice, and how'd you do 40 deals your first year?
I did a lot of open houses. Okay. Even though I didn't have the listings, I'd go to the other realtors in the office and say, can I do an open house at this listing? So I did those every weekend. Another thing I used to do is I'd come in the office and work when the office was closed, because back then, 20 years ago, people actually walked in an office to say, I want to buy a house, I want to list my house, instead of, today it's all done on the internet. So I would take advantage of off hours and keeping the lights on in the office and being open. I used to farm neighborhoods where I would walk 600 houses every 30 days.
Wow.
Nobody else was doing that. It would be snowing or ice on the ground, and I was walking because I am regimented. If it is the first of the month, and on the first of the month I'm supposed to be walking and farming, that's what I'm doing no matter what. I started doing postcards, and I got vendors to help with the cost of that. Nobody else in my market was doing that at the time. And so I just kept, I guess then it went into, going to the conventions for Century 21. And then he retired 2 years after I got in the business, so I didn't have that much of the Century 21 training. But then I went on to another company, and then I started to grow into Star Power with Howard Brinton. And that was amazing because there were so many, realtors there who would just share. And I would just be like a sponge. I'd take it all and soak it up and then say, okay, how can I make this work in my market? And one of the biggest things that I had gotten in 2003 was that moving truck where all the buyers and sellers get to use to move for free.
Yeah.
And I'm in a market where we're talking $170,000 for an average sales price. So people are doing the moving themselves. They're not hiring companies most of the time to do that. So that was a big, big deal. Then I bought a Volkswagen Bug, which we still have, and it's, lettered up and wrapped. And then we got 2 more moving trucks and now we have a Nissan Cube in addition. So we got a little fleet out on the roads, and that is great marketing for not a lot of money.
Right. Yeah.
So
okay, that's awesome. That is awesome. You laid out what you did. So let's go back. I mean, what we have found, and I don't know if you're finding it, but what I'm hearing across the nation, there is a resurgence in holding open houses. How I'm going to ask a couple questions in together. Number one, do you still think open houses is a viable strategy to grow your company or business? And two, if so, how should somebody go about choosing a particular house to hold open?
Well, I have not been a big fan of the open houses over the last probably 10 years, just because once the virtual tours started coming out, the houses are open 24/7. And I think the serious buyers are going to call to get into the house for an appointment. However, one of our buyer agents had an open house yesterday on a listing, and she's writing on it today. So I say one thing, but then something else has happened. So maybe it's something I actually need to be looking more into, because we may do 15 open houses a year, but we've not had grand success with it over the past 10 years. But yesterday's was very good.
Yeah, well, I'm hearing lots of people do open house and having success. And I think, because so much is done online. I think that if you promote it the right way to the houses around. Number one, people are getting not necessarily buyers, but they're getting selling leads, listing leads. And two, I think people want to have that more one-to-one or personal interaction and get away from the screen. People are on screens, too much. So.
And I also think it may depend on the market that you're in. We're in a market of 20,000 people. So we do not have that many homes on the market. So I feel like if somebody really wants to look, they're going to call to set it up. Now, we are 15 minutes from St. Louis. So let's say you're looking for a house for $215,000, you might have 200 houses to choose from in St. Louis. So I think the open houses in that market might be more beneficial than having them in our market. So I think it depends on the market that you're in too.
Yeah, I did not know. So you're 15 minutes. You're fundamentally in St. Louis, but are you in a different state? That's St.
We're
Louis?
in Illinois.
You're in Illinois. Okay.
Right. So we are right on the border, but the problem is the folks in St. Louis think we are another country over here in Illinois, even though we are only 15 minutes from downtown St. Louis.
That's craziness. It takes me. I'm in San Diego. It takes me 15 minutes to get to the store. That is insane.
But we do get a lot of St. Louis folks coming over this direction because in Columbia we have larger lots. And we're easy access to St. Louis. So we are, and people do find us, but it's not nearly as big as the St. Louis market.
So how much of I assume you're licensed in Missouri as well?
I'm not, no.
You're not? Why?
I've chosen not to be because I feel you can only know one market really well. And I know my market inside and out.
Well, you are at 258 deals. You have to be the queen bee in terms of right. You're the powerhouse in your market.
There's one other person who does a little bit more in production than I do.
Dang. Well, let's get you.
So we're number one and number two in our entire MLS, which is maybe 700 realtors or so, and we both just happen to be in the same town.
Very interesting. So let's talk about you said you had a little farm. Now it is incredible to me. You in your market in the wintertime, you're going to get down.
I do not farm it anymore.
Okay. and
I do not walk the farm anymore.
So okay, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm sure you still mail it, but talk to us about when you said you walked it. What does that mean? Were you knocking on doors, or were you just taking a stroll down the sidewalk?
I would have bags that would have marketing materials in them, and I would hang them on every door.
Okay.
Because I am shy, I still do not like to knock on doors, so I would hang them on the doors. But that's how I got a lot of listings when I first started out.
And just from that's what. When you had a door hanger, Tammy, what kind of copy? What did you have on there to incent somebody to call you rather than just throw it in the garbage?
Well, back 20 years ago, I had a little recipe in there, and then I would also take a list of, so if I was farming to, let's say, Columbia, I was in a neighborhood of $110,000 houses, I would probably put Columbia houses that were maybe 150 on up, like a whole list of them in that folder. Then I'd put a pencil or a chip clip or an opener for glass jars, something like that in there that had my marketing material on it. But something that was fairly inexpensive because I was starting out and I had no money.
Yeah, and why today? Why today, Tammy? Do you not farm that area? And I can understand maybe you're doing 200 deals, you can't walk it, but what do you do to that 600 houses today? Anything?
I don't, and I wish I did, but along the way, what I did is I went from walking it to sending oversized postcards, and then I went to, I think, like a page or two that we folded and mailed out, like a flyer. Then I graduated to a 12-page color newspaper. So after the newspaper, though, I quit the farm area, which was only about 2 years ago. Now I do a 20-page color magazine, and I distribute it to 300 different locations throughout the communities instead of mailing.
Okay.
So it's just transformed into something much more elegant, much nicer quality, and much more expensive, but much easier at the same time.
Yeah. Looking at that 250 deals that you did, percentage really quick, buyers, sellers?
Right at 50-50.
50-50. Okay, 50-50. And at any one time, how many listings do you carry, Tammy?
Usually about 90.
Golly, 90. Okay. Where 50,
Some of those being lots
okay.
and land.
All right. Where do you, again, out of that 250, where is that business coming from? How are you generating it? Is it just because you've been in the market for 20 years and everybody knows Tammy and they see your trucks around, or what are some of the channels that people are finding you?
Well, that's part of it. So when you're in a small community like we are, when you have a truck, everybody knows who you are. All of my signs have my picture on them. And I'm not with a franchise, so I have branded my own look. But even when I was with a franchise, I still had my own brand. So it was branding myself over the years. And then we've recently broken into another market about 20 minutes away from me, and it's a market of 200,000 people. So now I feel like I'm starting over because I have to brand myself in that market. So one way that we've really been getting a lot of traffic in the new market is doing the radio commercials on Y98 in St. Louis.
Okay.
And so Courtney, who is one of the morning DJs, does a live ad for me, I think 2 one week, and then we're off a week, and then 2 the next. And then I have some of my own ads that I run with my own voice. And we're driving them to our website is what we're doing.
Oh, Tammy, I can help you so much with that. You're not a radio person, so. But anyhow, I don't want to take up this interview.
We'll talk later on
We'll
that.
talk afterwards. Okay, so radio's working for you. You have this beautiful magazine that you. What does your referral business look like? What percentage of that 258 is referrals?
Are you talking referrals from other realtors or referrals from past clients?
Let's talk about both, but particularly I'm asking about past clients.
Past clients, probably in the ballpark of about 20%.
20%, okay. And you mentioned other realtors, I guess because they're St. Louis realtors. So what is that percentage?
Probably about maybe 5%.
5%. Okay. That's a big that 5% is a big number. For the most part, is it just because of your location that you're 15 minutes out and you know people in St. Louis and they how are you generating that?
So just by having gone to a lot of seminars and classes over the past 20 years and
Okay.
meeting people. So I send a lot out that direction, and then they send quite a few back our direction.
Okay. Now, I have to tell you, Tammy, that for you being in the business for 20 years and you being this very honest person that you are, and I'm sure you give great advice to everybody you work with, getting 20% of your deals from past client referrals is very low. What are you not doing? Why is it so low? Do you think it's low?
You know what? I don't know.
Okay.
We do a lot of marketing, and we have everything go into a system called Follow Up Boss. So let's say they find me let's say they were referred to us by a friend, but they went to our website and they signed up there first. Then that lead in our system called Follow Up Boss puts it down as a lead that came from our website. So,
Okay.
I mean, we hear all the time, oh, yeah, so-and-so told me to call, but based on our system that generates the lead, like how they come into us and how they're categorized, it may be off because of that.
Yep. Okay.
I don't know. But we hear it all the time, but I guess when we actually look at the numbers, it doesn't appear that way.
Okay. Now, when you say, and by the way, everybody, if you get a chance, go to Tammy's site. It's Tammy Mitchell Hines, 2 L's on the Mitchell Hines, not like the ketchup, but it's Hines. Take a look at it. I'm on it right now, Tammy.
Or the easier one is calltammy.com.
Okay. Let me look at that one.
CALLTAMMY.com. It's the same site. It's just two different.
Oh, okay. I got it. Okay. So if somebody goes to your site, you said somebody goes to your site, they sign up. What are they signing up for? Because
They can sign up to get houses in their particular area and price range.
Sign up for daily alerts. Okay.
Right.
I got it. Now, have you ever thought about? You have lots of tabs here. Have you ever look? Let me tell you what. So if you go to my site, our site, superagentslive.com. One of the first, I wrote a book. I wrote 2 books actually, but I give one away, and it's called How to Sell. So I say, hey, give me your name, give me your email address. Right, it's just a lead magnet, and I'll give you my book. Why are you not doing something simple like that and trying to get people? Incite people to give you their email address and put them in your funnel.
I haven't thought about giving anything free away.
Okay. All right. And again, we'll talk about this stuff later. So,
okay.
What, I don't know, if we should talk about mindset at this point, but look, you've been at this for 20 years. You're a very successful person. Even your first year, you're successful. You bounce between number 1 and number 2 in your market. Tammy, what is it with you that you're still putting the gas, the pedal to the metal and gas on the fire to build your business bigger and better?
I think it's just the desire to do a great job, and to do that, I'm always thinking about, because I work the seller side, I'm always thinking, what is it that I can do that could market my sellers' listings even better? And I like cool technology, so I was the first one in our market to do virtual tours with that thing called the Egg back probably 15 years ago. And so I'm always looking for what is new, what is cool, and what are other people just not doing. So it's not really a desire to grow my business to make more money. In fact, I've never done business based on I want to make money, and that's why I'm doing this, which might sound odd. But when I was a television reporter, I made $15,000 to do that.
Right.
So my whole thing was, if I make $15,000 a year in real estate, that's great. So my focus has never been on what's in it for me. It's always been, what can I do that's different? And of course, I'm a business person, so I have to make sure it does make financial sense at the end of the day. Right. But it's always what's new, what's cool, and what are we going to do now? So I think that's just what my focus has been on. And then because of that, the leads start coming in on the buyer side and the listing side, and everybody wins.
So how are you, what are some of the things that you're doing, Tammy, to stay ahead of the curve, to stay ahead of the other people in your market?
You mean currently?
Well, yeah, currently. I mean, I guess, how are you finding out what's new? I mean, because there's so much new technology and things coming out. How are you uncovering these things earlier than everybody else? You're doing virtual tours early.
Right. One of the things that I still do, I'll go to CyberStars. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No.
It's where a bunch of realtors get together, and Brad Korn out of the Kansas City area is the one who leads that. So that's one place you can go, and everybody's sharing what they're doing with technology that's new and cool. So I got the drone a couple of years ago, and it sat in the box for a while, and then that was the cheap drone. Now we've got the Phantom, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we've got the GoPro. And to be honest with you, we haven't even gotten I think the GoPro is something we're going to be working with in the next 2 weeks, because we've gotten it. It is out of the box, but I don't think we've figured it out yet.
Got it.
And we were going to buy this what I thought was a pretty neat 3D camera, and I actually canceled it because I realized it's actually pretty boring technology. You have to walk through the house room by room instead of being able to just go to the living room or just to bedroom 2 or the master.
Oh,
so
right.
I ended up canceling it because between needing a really awesome computer to run it, it was very boring. So I thought that was going to be my newest, coolest thing.
And hold on. Give me the name. Give everybody is it okay for everybody in the audience to look up this thing that Brad runs? What's the URL?
Oh, I believe it's cyberstars.net. So let me look it up here and just make sure.
How have I not heard of this?
Alan?
No. .net. I had .com.
Yes, .net. Cyberstars.net. Top agents using technology. And
got it.
it's pretty fun. And then we can network with realtors, around the country again. And then the other one that class or seminars that I go to would be Amy Stair.
Yep.
Has Real Estate Masters Guild.
Yep.
So those are the two places that I tend to go. And then every once in a while I will go to Celebration for CRS.
I'm sorry, what Celebration? What is that?
That is for those who have their CRS designation.
Okay. And listen, everybody...
I did not go this past year.
Okay. And just everybody in the audience, cyberstars.net, I'll have all this stuff on the show notes for Tammy. So if you're driving, don't pull over. Just go to the website later and we'll have it all there. Now, here's what the new thing, it's not really that new, but it's in terms of utilizing, it's just video. Video works. Are you, I know you got the GoPro. How are you using video in your business today, Tammy?
Well, on my website, on the front page, we just recently changed to a different website provider, so my website did change a bit, but I have a video just kind of introducing myself on that. And then we've done videos on different towns around the area, so buyers are looking. I've wanted to incorporate more video testimonials, but that doesn't seem to happen as often as I'd like to see it happening.
Yep.
And that's probably about it. We also, for a while, and then this was hard for the buyer agents because I think people are just so self-conscious of seeing themselves on video. But when we got a lead in to say, hey, Joe, just noticed that you emailed in about this lead. I'm in the process of getting it together for you, and send that little soundbite or that video back to them.
Yeah.
Via cell phone, if their cell phone number was provided. And I thought that was a really awesome idea. Lee Brown out of, I believe North Carolina is one who had told us about that, and I thought it was awesome. It works really well for her, but it was really hard to get our agents here to incorporate it.
And I think the other thing too is, I mean, there's services like BombBomb out there. There's viral marketing that you can kind of do something similar. But if you know how to do it, I mean, it's not that hard to, if you have a laptop, it's got a camera. You can do this on YouTube, and I think it's so cool that you can, create a little video and say, hey, Tammy, I know you were looking at the 3-2. This one just popped up. Take a look at the attached link. And I think having that kind of, if you can communicate with your buyers or sellers with video, that there's so much more of a connection rather than just a call or a text or an email. So
absolutely.
I'm going to ask you kind of a personal question, Tammy, and you are the listing. You're the only listing person in your office, but you've told us over and over again that you're shy. Have you? I'll do this step by step. Have you taken the DISC profile test?
I have.
You have. Where? What are you? Do you remember?
I am C and D, and I fake the I.
Okay. C and D.
And I'm not as much C as I'd like to be because there just isn't time enough to be as much C as I really prefer to be.
Look, I'll tell you mine. I'm 99D, 99I. And I have no S or no C. So C, you're cautious. D, you're dominant. Are you higher C than D or higher D?
C, higher C.
Higher C. So again, this points back to your shyness. I would with your profile, Tammy, you're much more suited in terms of the profile to work with buyers rather than sellers. Is that one of those places where you have to put on that mask or that hat when you are working with sellers?
It is, because I really am shy. So for me to, although one-on-one I'm fine.
Okay.
It's just when I get in front of a big audience that it makes it a little more difficult. But I love the one-on-one, whether it be buyers or sellers. And with sellers, the C comes into play pretty much because of, determining price and getting down to the details on it. And I just comes, I can fake I naturally, but to go out on the weekends and just go to events and stuff, I stay far away from that stuff. I don't enjoy it. So saying that I fake the eye sounds bad, but it just means that I have to really work hard at having the eye portion, and that's what buyers and sellers want. And that's why I think I've been so successful, though, with buyers or sellers, is because I really do a good job of really listening to them, caring about them, and doing that job while I'm there,
Right.
and then getting away from it and being the fee.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so funny. I was just last weekend. I was just at Keller. I went to Keller Williams family reunion out in Orlando, and for me, like, my eye is so that you know, my wife she's always like, don't, you know. I'm sometimes over the top, and it's just me. I don't mean so for me, I try to pull it back. Anyhow, look, this has been great. We're going to start wrapping up, and I'm going to ask you the same 3 questions I ask everybody. Here's the first one. So, Tammy, from television reporting to real estate, who has been a mentor to you along the way?
Wow, you know what? I've had so many of them that have played different roles in my life. You know, my dad was my mentor in the beginning, and then it kind of went to all of the stars at Star Power. Mm-hmm. I mean, no one in particular. And then now that Star Power is no longer, I would say, Amy Stair, because she's been my coach for many years, on and off. I kind of call on her when I need her. And that's probably about it.
Yeah, and by the way, Amy is booked for the show. I don't know when, but she's going to come on.
She is a rock star.
Yeah. So, and I agree with you. I think that there are seasons in your business or in your life. Right. There are seasons. You need different kind of mentors for your different seasons. You know, I always ask for a book recommendation. So I'm curious as to what people like you know, hard driving, very successful people like you read. So here's the setup, Jan. Here's the setup. I'm an aspiring agent. I have $25. What book should I go buy today?
I don't have an answer for that.
You don't read?
I do read. I read James Patterson and Danielle Steele, because when I'm not working, I am not working.
Good.
And so I really don't know that I have one. Shoot, I'm trying to think of the book, though, that I have. If you're the rainmaker and you have people working with you, it's one I can't. I'm bad at books anyway.
Yeah, that's okay. No, it's all right. So, and look, for everybody out there, if you're resonating with some of what Tammy's saying, and you have a feeling like, oh man, I'm shy like Tammy, but even with my shyness, I can succeed. Here's the book I'd recommend: is Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. So, if you have not read that, and again, I'm speaking to the audience, Tammy. If you've not read that, get a free copy on us. Just use our link. Go to audibletrial.com/superagentslive.
I do actually have a book now.
All right, let's hear it.
You're talking. Who Moved My Cheese?
I've heard of that. I've never read it.
So, just watching ahead and knowing that, change is there. So in the book, it's about 2 mice who go to find this one hunk of cheese every day. Well, the one mouse realized, hey, at some point that cheese is going to be gone. I need to start looking for more.
Got it.
So it's probably a really good book just for business people in general to be looking ahead in business and what could possibly change in your business and how are you going to be prepared for that change.
I love it. And listen, everybody, you can buy it for $16 at Barnes & Nobles. I'm looking at it right now. But I Googled it, and it looks like there's a free PDF out there. So if you're interested, go get that PDF.
And you can read it in an hour.
Oh, got it. That's perfect. So for you, Tammy, do you have a personal habit that you feel has contributed to your success?
I am very regimented. So every day I'm up at the same time. First thing I do is check my email. Then I get ready, and I'm at the office at 6:45 every day because I can get more work done before everyone gets in than I can get done for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the discipline that I had naturally that I don't know that can be taught. I think you either have it or you don't. You might be able to improve on it, but I just have systems in place that have really, I guess, been the key for me over the years.
And what do you mean? Like, can you give us an example of the systems that you have in place?
So, like when I get in my office, first thing I do, again, is check my email. Then I go into my task list of what I'm supposed to do for the day.
Got it.
The task list comes from the systems we have in place for when a house goes under contract or when we take a new listing or a house goes under contract that's on the buyer side. So it's just those systems and knowing what I do every day. And, of course, things come up and somebody calls and says, can you list my house? Can you be here in 3 hours?
Right.
Sure. So things can be adjusted, but if I'm in early and I get my tasks done first or I eat my, the frogs first, these are things that I really don't want to do, then the rest of my day, if I get thrown a loop, it's no big deal.
Right. No, I love it. And I think that, eat the frog first. I think that is so important. And I think if people can just, get regimented like you, have a schedule that's standard and get the important stuff done first, that's it, man. Suit up and show up, answer your phone, and you can win in real estate. Hey, Tammy, look, I always encourage my audience, if they've gotten anything out of this episode, I always ask them to reach out and say thank you to you. So where can people find you, Tammy?
They can find me at Tammy, Tammy, at calltammy.com.
Awesome. And again, everybody, if you're driving and walking your dog, it's all going to be on the show notes at Super Agents Live. Hey, look, Tammy, I'll be the first one to kick off the thank you train. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day and coming on and sharing with us.
Hey, it was my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on. It was wonderful.
You're welcome. All right, let's stay in touch.
Okay.
See ya.
Thank you.
Let's go. Yeah.